James Gunn keeps teasing things about Superman Man of Tomorrow, and then, of course, letting us know that Peacemaker Season 2 will be a big setup. So here is my pitch for Superman Man of Tomorrow. Hello, everyone. Daniel here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'm doing a pitch for Superman Man of Tomorrow. There will be spoilers for Peacemaker Season 2, and of course for the Superman film from 2025. So you haven't seen those, make sure to go check those out and come back. But James Gunn has teased a brain x-ray, or that little thing that he had on the script when he turned it in. We also have a new Lex Luthor cameo in Peacemaker where we see him do a deal with Argus to be transferred to a different prison, one that it's a lot closer to Metropolis, at least in the comics. So if you stitch some of these clues together, along with some modern Superman comics, I think you're going to get, frankly, a perfect political thriller twist in which we see a new villain, Braniac, who disables Superman, so the government has to turn to Lex Luthor, and then Lex Luthor uses this moment to orchestrate a public redemption that ends with a pardon and a campaign for the White House. So here's how the comics practically have handed James Gunn this blueprint, and why I think Superman will not be able to stop him in Superman Man of Tomorrow. Let's talk about it. Today, I'll show you that the comics that kind of line up with this exact beat. My premise was that Brainiac is this big threat that can take out Superman offline, right? Then Lex Luthor, he has the warsuit, he has the political comeback stories. We have a modern event in which Lex and Brainiac can actually interact. Then we'll map out how those comics onto all these stories from what we've seen from Peacemaker and so far in the DCU, and along with some of James Gunn's comments and interviews and stuff like that. And I'll explain how the movie beats, and I expect how that would wreck Superman emotionally in one of the best cinematic ways. So we start with Brainiac, right? We have Geoff Johns, Action Comics. Brainiac reintroduced as an alien, an intelligence that bottles cities and can isolate or incapacitate Superman. So we know that Brainiac collects knowledge, but also these cities from across the galaxy, really. Um, it has the feel of a planetary scale antagonist suited for a franchise movie. In 2024, DC ran the comic book House of Brainiac, which also recast Brainiac as this cosmic collector, experimenter who also captures cities and also controls people, the kind of threat that would justify a Black Ops response from the government, including calling Lex Luthor. Now, Lex has a couple of tools that James Gunn can use. We have techs, like all his tech savvy, and we also have the political optics. We have the war suit, the iconic armor suit from Action Comics 544, which lets Lex credibly stand beside the military in public and be shown taking on the alien. Now, we've already seen that the Raptor suit are very similar to Lex's suit. Obviously, he would have the best of the suits. Now, meanwhile, Lex's history of political reinvention is also in the comics. Multiple comics have him running for and even at some points becoming president in alternate timelines and different storylines. This gives a narrative path for him to leverage a crisis into a pardon, and then leverage that even further into political power, because we've seen that he cannot just beat Superman with raw power or technology. He also needs the people on his side. Now, most crucial in this House of Brainiac event, it stages some interactions where Lex is intertwined with Brainiac. Sometimes they cooperate, they bargain. They're also very morally ambiguous and almost betray each other at points, which is exactly the dynamic you would describe in a film like this. Lex publicly helps to stop Brainiac while quietly cutting a deal, playing both sides. I think that comic gives a great modern screenable template. Lex helps, appears heroic, then uses the victory to claim his name and all from the events from the first film. Now, here's how I think James Gunn could stage a lot of this. He can use Peacemaker, or at least the lore from the show, to establish Lex custody and the political muscle. We've already seen the cameo. He's already shown that he's moving to another prison, right? So Then we can also stage Brainiac's arrival as the event that takes Superman out of commission, because I think that James Gunn has mentioned that this Superman Man of Tomorrow film is not a sequel to Superman, which to me tells me that there's not going to be maybe as much Superman, at least not at the beginning of the film. So either Superman gets captured by him, he's neurohacked, maybe he's otherwise cut off, maybe put in one of those bottle cities. um, the government panic, then taps Lex Luthor as the only person with the technology and the plausible deniability to actually do something. Lex finally suits up, and Nicholas Holt is somebody that you can definitely build your movie around. He battles the alien, and in this viral video moment, the public believes that Lex Luthor actually saved the day. And then we get the pardon, we get the PR campaign, and maybe even the path to political office. Now, why can't Superman prevent a lot of this? First of all, Brainiac's methods in the comics specifically target Kryptonian physiology and things that Superman actually relies on, right? There's intelligence traps, there's bottle cities, there's tech that serves him for, that severs him from his allies. Also, a political rehab can be staged in public, and even if Superman knows the truth, Superman is bound by the law and his own moral code. Fighting a government backed, legally pardoned Lex Luthor is a PR nightmare. We've already seen that the will of the public is something that James Gunn can definitely bring as an aspect of the film. And an escalation, it would be something that no hero would want to take on lightly. Now, that's what I think creates an interesting and compelling emotional arc. Superman is powerless in a civic sense, even if he's able to physically battle. That is what I'm thinking here. That's kind of the meat of this, right? Superman just can't punch his way out of this one. Now, I'm not saying that Lex needs to actually be pure evil or that James Gunn will actually make Lex president by the end of the second film, but I think the comics have given us every piece needed to tell a story across different films, which that kind of leads on its path. Brainiac as an existential threat, Lex as a public hero and a schemer and a pathway to political power. And if James Gunn wants a long term, morally ambiguous villain, which I think long term villains have been the weakest part of the MCU outside of somebody like Thanos, this is somehow who can actually survive sequels, move on to different films, be somebody that's involved all throughout the DCU and the connections that are there. And this is just the exact playbook for that. So, if you want to check some of this stuff out, you can check out Action Comics 866 through 870, which is the Brainiac arc. You can also check out the latest crossover, House of Brainiac, from 2024. You can check out a lot of these other new things. I'll drop a few more things. And also, if you want to go back and look at the original Lex Luthor warsuit, you can check out Action Comics 544. Now, if you want a breakdown where we have more of these films, let me know down in the comments. Maybe there's other ideas, maybe there's other things that we can really dive into. But I think this is a great, great starting point. And if you have any other theories as to how the Men of Tomorrow sequel or how the Men of Tomorrow film can play out, let me know down in the comments. So if you enjoy this theory or if you enjoyed any of what I'm doing in the channel, make sure to leave us a like, subscribe, comment, and stay tuned because we'll be talking more about this, about the upcoming films in the DCU, and then, of course, about everything comics. So, thanks for watching, everyone. Bye bye.